And so let's say now that we've got a candidate that's current, and let's also say that they're issuing embassy interviews for people who fall within that all clear category as well. How should the candidate expect to get an embassy interview, and what goes along with an embassy interview if you want to talk about the medical process? So, firstly, should I expect to receive an embassy interview date? Is there a way to self schedule for an embassy interview date? Does it vary depending on where I'm at globally?
hmm The methods for scheduling for your own interview vary by country and they are constantly changing. At this time, really the consulates are scheduling your interview dates. So you shouldn't expect that you will be able to schedule your own interview date. You'll need to wait until this consulate schedules that interview date for you. I know in the past the Philippines have allowed it, but it has since changed. And so most often the consulates are scheduling that interview date. And once they schedule that date, it's very important to keep the date because it is, while they give instructions for rescheduling it, it can take a significant amount of time for a date to be rescheduled. So once that interview date is scheduled, you'll want to keep that date. And so the consulate, they will send an email to both you and our office explaining when the interview date is, and they will provide instructions for your interview. And our office will also reach out to you with additional instructions for the interview that lays out the civil documents that you'll need to bring with you, the types of questions they will ask you, the process leading up to the interview, such as having your medical exam completed. So you'll receive instructions from both the consulate as well as our office. And then the consulate typically sends a reminder as well a couple of weeks before your interview with instructions of different steps you need to complete beforehand. But one of the things that you will need to be sure to complete is the medical exam. Instructions will be provided to you that shows what doctor office you need to go to because there's certain ones to go to for these immigrant interviews. And then the doctor's office will they will know the different requirements that need to be completed for your interview. So the doctor's office, once you schedule your appointment, they will assist you with the medical process. And then they will forward your exams to the consulate for your interview. Another process that you need to complete before your interview is you'll need to obtain your visa screen to show that you are qualified to come to the United States to practice as a registered nurse. Those are two processes that you'll complete on your own before attending your interview.
Okay, great. And I think this is a good point for me to kind of reference the criteria that Infinity Care Partners as well to move forward with the embassy interview date, as you just heard, or as a candidate. Anita just noted the significance of maintaining the integrity of your embassy interview date, the difficulty that you might see if you're attempting to have one reissued or rescheduled. We don't want that to happen. Everybody who's on this call, and of course, to the candidates as well. We all want people here as quickly as possible. And of course, people who aren't here, which would be your petitioner or your employer as well, want you here, need you here as quickly as possible. So to ensure that you can move forward to your embassy interview date and to receive your embassy letter, you do need to make sure that you are working active bedside. You do need to meet that minimum 500 hours requirement. You should have started your license endorsement process, depending on your state board of nursing. And then, of course, if your state board of nursing requires a CES report or requires your English examination, which should have been taken care of before your fee bill, then that should be taken care of as well. You do need to meet that criteria to be able to move forward and receive your embassy letter to go to your embassy interview, and you'll have correspondence with the Infinity Care Partners team specifically about those requirements when you're all clear and before you're current, so that you can make sure that you're in a position to prepare best to move forward with that process. So when they go to the embassy interview, what should they expect? What types of questions should they expect? Is there any real concern that they should have? I understand that there might be some nerves that are brewing underneath the surface, but if you can give the candidates a small overview of the process, that might relieve some of the burden that they're feeling and the anxiety that they're feeling as they're walking into the embassy.
Right. The embassy interview will be the easiest part of the process. You've already completed the legwork throughout the entire the process, the previous steps that you've completed. You've gathered the appropriate documentation. You've shown that you're qualified for the role. You've got the I-140 approved. So the interview is more of a formality to review the information that you have already submitted. So a lot of applicants are very nervous. I can understand why you would be nervous. It's a big moment, exciting milestone to be able to receive that immigrant visa and come to the United States. But most applicants after their interview, I'll receive an email saying you were right. It was very quick, very easy, no reason to be stressed. It's again, it's a formality to review the information that you've already submitted. The government's already reviewed information, you've passed to the next steps. And so this is going to present information that you've already submitted to confirm that yes, you are qualified for the role. There's not any surprise questions that the consulate asks you. It's all questions that you've already answered. And again, it's not a lot of questions that they will ask you. It'll be information about your employment opportunity. Most of the questions will be about your employment. Who will you be working for? What's the worksite location? What job duties will you perform? And for basic information like that, that you would have known from the very beginning of the process. And then you'll just show your documents to show that, yes, you are qualified. You'll show your visa screen, your civil documents. Really, the only reason that the interview, any issues would arise is if there's anything that was hidden, not disclosed, any criminal acts in the past that you have not disclosed that we have not been able to discuss. So those are the only times when there's surprises at the interview, is if something comes up, because the government has information on your background. Even if you don't disclose it on the DS-260, they will have that information. So really the only surprises at the interviews is information that you withheld during the DS-260. So most often the applicants, they don't have criminal histories. They've disclosed all of the information and the process is very smooth, very easy, and very quick.
Great. And on the off chance that maybe they are issued some kind of a 221G or they're not visa approved, what would you say are frequently seen reasons and what needs to be done to make sure that they can get an approved visa?
Mm-hmm. And so sometimes the government will issue a 221G if there wasn't a document that was disclosed at the interview. So maybe you forgot to bring a document, you forgot to bring a clearance, you forgot to bring your visa screen, the nerves got to you that day and you missed a document. Then they'll issue a 221G, which provides you the opportunity to submit that document that you didn't bring with you to the interview. And there's instructions on the 221G that explains how you will submit that document. Right now, a lot of the consulates are requesting that you email the document and they'll show you an address for you to email the document to. But the specific information that they will need, as well as directions for how to submit that document, will be provided on a 221G notice if they need anything additional to issue your visa. There's not a timeline to submit the documents, but of course you want to submit it as soon as possible so that you can have the visa issued. They may take, there's no variable or estimation of how long it will take the government to issue your visa once a 221G is submitted. But they will be in touch with you once they have adjudicated your case and issued your visa.
And what's happening with your team, and what, if any, kind of communication should the candidate expect after their case has been approved?
Mhm. After the case is approved, the consulate will issue you a packet with further instructions that shows the information that you will need to bring with you to go to the border and enter the United States. So it'll show fees that need to be paid. All of the information for the next steps is outlined in that packet that you will receive from the consulate. And then you will need to email our office to let us know once your visa is issued so that we can track it in our system for later on if you want to seek citizenship.
And when should they expect to receive the visa packet, and by what mode or means they receive the visa packet? Is it electronic, it's physical, and how do they receive it?
I believe the visa packet is issued at the consulate once the visa is approved, but it may also be mailed to them once their passport is returned to them within about a week. So
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
sure I'm not sure if they receive it on the spot at the consulate or if it's mailed to it, but it would be one of those two avenues.
Great.